Hi, baby. Streaming on Instagram. Now I know what to do. Now I know what the business is.
Let's go.
We all the way through. Coda, what up, man? Coda, what up?
Man, I'm chilling, man. How you, bro?
Man, I'm super blessed. We got a little late today. This is our first Heal Me campaign of 2023. But I'm thankful to have you. We're just gonna do this thing right. For everybody who's tapped in, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter, this is the Heal Me campaign. Essentially, in 2019, I wrote a song called Heal Me, featuring Grammy nominated artist Raheem Devon, which kind of talks about the process of healing that I learned from my father as a young boy, and how those coping mechanisms weren't always healthy or well. And so what I did was I developed this platform to talk to brothers who had been through something, right? Who've experienced what you might call the dark period of the soul. I call it the Job moment as well. But found their way out. And the goal is to help some of you brothers out there, some of the men who may be going through a difficult or tough moment now. One, know that you're not alone. Two, be inspired that you can get through it, that you can definitely make it through this moment. And then last but not least, that you might hear some strategies, some tools, some resources to help you get through the place that you're in. My guest today is a long-term brother, long-time brother of mine, someone who I truly love and rock with. I actually lived with this brother for a time in high school. We were part of a rap group back in the day, and he is nothing short of an incredible artist in what he does. I want to introduce him. His name is, he goes by as an artist, Kayo. Bracey. Kayo, what it is, what it do,
What it
tell us
do,
what you got
man?
going on. Tap us in. What's the move right now?
Man, I'm just out here grinding, man. Just enjoying life, creating, spending time with the family, man. I'm vibing right now, man.
Man, I love it. I love it. And we know, if I can say it, you got a new little one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like 3 months now.
Yeah. I asked you earlier were you getting any sleep, and what you tell me?
It's getting there. Now, look, my wife is the one that really doesn't get a lot of sleep, all right? A lot of times, she knows I got to get up early, so she'll let me get a little rest, and she just been being a little trooper.
Right.
But little Dakota started to sleep a lot more, so we getting it.
Man, blessings, blessings, blessings. So I'm gonna tap y'all in real quick with just the format and the schedule of the day, so you know what we're gonna do. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to the song "Heal Me," part of it, and then I guess we'll always give a reflection of how the song relates to them. After that, we're gonna dive right into what we call the breaking point, or what was the most difficult point that they've dealt with recently, or the topic of the discussion for today. We'll talk about what vices they may have adapted during that time to cope, whether those coping mechanisms were healthy or unhealthy. We'll also talk about the turning point, right? What was the thing? What was the piece of knowledge, the inspiration, the person, the program that helped shift or turn them around or invigorate them? And then we'll get into the steps that they took. What was their daily habits, monthly habits, processes that allowed them to start to build and get back into form, as I would call it. And then we'll finish with just tapping in and getting their insight on you know what it means for them to be in a place of peace, power, and purpose. So we're just gonna start off with this song. Cody, you ready?
Yep, we do it.
Yeah, Yusha. This is my prayer. See, my father never talked too much. Just that look in his eyes, deep stares out the window, told me that life was. Look in his face was pain he would conceal. He inadvertently taught me that real men don't feel. So don't follow your heart. Use it to advance your cause, but always follow your thoughts and make a smart decision. You should barely apologize and never ask permission. And when the world does a thing to try to break you down, don't tell a soul. They waiting just to take your crown. Your woman gon' think you weak if you express your pain. Your men gon' say you sweet though they be feeling the same. So get a vice now. Cup of Hennessy, cigarette, live your life. Whatever you gotta do to get sleep at night. Cause for the longest you probably ain't sleeping right. or even slept at all. When God calls, don't fight it, take a sigh of relief. But you ain't gotta live no more in this grief. Yeah, the cruel world that we living in is hard and cold. You ain't a man till it scars your soul. Straight up, so don't ever express your feelings. You sit in silence, cause the only feelings you get are anger, hate, and violence. But see, the system got a process and a plan for that. Time is the only thing you got, so never hand them that. So if you ever truly feel like you about to break, get you a pencil and a notebook, let your mind escape. Writing is the only place where we can feel free. After he died, I read his notebook, he wrote, "Heal me.
Heal me, yeah. Heal me. Father, don't nobody understand me. I won't make it out unless you come down and heal me, yeah. Heal me. They don't know the pain I've been going through. I call your name cause I know that you can heal me.
Was he really that strong? Or just putting up a front? Did death come too soon? Or was it something he won? After 66 hard years of hiding them tears, did he get a reward? Well, let me make this clear that I think his vice got him. The thing he used to cope with life just took the life out of him. Them cigarettes that he was smoking all them stressful days. But we still had a few good days, and I knew, cause he would smoke one or two, but otherwise a pack. I used to ask him not to smoke again, but what I should have said was breathe, pop, don't hold it in. We do yoga to get peace these days, but them Carolina preachers didn't teach these ways. It was suffer and survive. If you don't get your blessings in this life, if you tired, you can get them when you die. He used to hit that cigarette and play too much, that he got cancer and ain't say too much.
He said, heal me, heal me. Mama, don't nobody understand me. I won't make it out unless you come down and heal me, yeah. Heal me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know you've heard that song before. We've talked about that song before. You know, even now, man, it's like reading a book again. Especially when we talk about healing, because we're never not healing. Where you are in your life today, all right, May 1st, 2023. How does that song relate to you today?
Yo, Dad, your vices are dangerous.
Mm.
You know, I think I think the line that hits me, bro, when you're like, I think his vice got him. The things he did to deal with life took the life out of him. Wow.
Mm.
And there's just so many times where we don't know how to necessarily express ourselves the right way, and we go to these vices, and these vices end up being to our detriment. So even me hearing that today, I've probably heard that song 100 times, right? And certain lines that still just hit like it's the first time I ever heard it, man. Reminds me a lot of like my situation, some things I was going through. You feel
Yeah. Yeah, that's key. I mean, I'm sure you met my father, but that them cigarettes was definitely his vice. And
me? Mm-hmm.
I know he was using them cigarettes to cope with his days, but that was the wrong way to, you know what I'm saying, to
Mm-hmm.
heal. I used to tell him not to smoke again, but what I should have said was breathe, pop,
Hold it
don't
in.
hold it in. Let's jump right into it, man. I will use a point breaking point, but I know that you've seen enough in life that you're not gonna break no more. You might have some moments, but you ain't gonna break. So my real question for you is more along the lines of you know, what was the most recent thing that kind of gave you some difficulty or some turmoil, or you know, tell us about your recent struggle.
Um, Definitely my mom, man. I had got a random call from my mom's job that she didn't show up for work, and that was for work, and I like her, you know. And I was ashamed picking up the phone. Man, I was laying on the floor, you know, the light hanging there, barely hanging there. It's crazy, man, because um, kind of a lot of stuff in the house, bro. I thought somebody. talk in the house. I trying to pull it out. You know, like, because it was ransacked, right? Call the ambulance, get to the hospital. Like, she ain't make it. You know, we spent the last, me, her, and my wife. It was tough, man. Through so many emotions. You know, depressed for a while, angry for a while. Because you think it's say that you didn't say, you might have wasted, over the years. Crazy is I got to a plus acceptance and actual joy because I know my mama knew God. I don't want to get too far into it yet, man. But it was a hard time, getting a phone call right after. Cause see, when I dropped her off at I thought she was just gonna be there for her. So I'm bringing like a little snacks because I'm thinking she gonna come home. So where I'm getting a phone call and come up here, she's not gonna make it. Like that's.
And I can't say I know your mother because I haven't seen her in like 20 years. I hadn't seen her, you know what I mean? But I knew your mother. Like I said, I used to live with you, and that's always going to be tough. Losing a parent is tough, and I know that you've now lost both. Um, what did that do to you?
I felt robbed for time. Definitely resentful was a big one, man, because it's like after you lose somebody, man, holidays are rough. You might be hanging around that have their family. You don't have yours.
Yo, hold on, Coda, hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
I said the sound going in and out, so we want to get that corrected so we don't miss nothing. Um, are you hearing a delay on my side? Does it feel delayed? Coda tapped in. Say something, Brody.
Yo.
Yeah, it's delayed vocally. Um, yeah, it's delayed vocally. Might be the Wi-Fi. What's your bars look like?
Man, hey, I got phone, matter of fact.
You on the landline too, ain't you?
Now I'm on the Wi-Fi.
All right, we should be good. We should be good.
What I sound like, y'all? Can you hear me now?
It's a little low, so you could just talk louder if you like. Just talk louder. But the problem is that it's a lag. So when you speak, um, it's just a little behind on the reception.
All right.
Yeah. So you said all right, and then I heard it like 3 seconds later.
Okay.
We're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna work it out.
All
Um,
right.
I changed your vocal setting too, so that might have been my fault.
Okay.
Say okay.
Okay.
It's a little better. It's getting better.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's go with it.
Yeah. Resentful was uh it's kind of like a weird emotion, man, because it's like I would be around people that might have still had both of their parents, or just going to, man, even walking around the store, and you might will see somebody with their parents, and it makes you feel some type of way. It just puts you in that emotional place of like, dang, I wish my people, were still here. Um, and I can't say that I always processed it the correct way, but I feel like I processed it the best way I knew how at that moment, and until it got to a healthier place. But it was definitely some dark moments in there, man.
What would you say your resentment was pointed? Was it who was it pointed towards? Like where was the resentment going?
Man, some of my friends, and you know what was crazy is that my wife has like a really, really tight knit family, right? And it took me a while to adjust. Like our first Thanksgiving and Christmas together, like my mom was able to come, and it was like, wow, this is dope. Like, all the family sitting around and hanging out, laughing, eating, fellowshipping. But when she wasn't there anymore, and then still having to be with my wife and go back for like Mother's Day or the next Thanksgiving after that, man, it was a lot, bro. I think my first Mother's Day after my mom passed, I think I just sat in the house all day. Like I literally was just trying to get through that 24 hours, you know. Um, because with the propaganda, with the promotions everywhere, it's like everything's just reminding you of like your mom ain't here no more, and it's just in your face. Um, it can definitely put you in a weird place where you're feeling all types of emotions. And I literally felt like I was everywhere. Like I would have days where I would be normal, happy, smiling self, and then would just start boohooing out of nowhere, and like to the point where you felt like the tears couldn't even stop, and you didn't even know why you were crying, but they were just coming.
Mm.
I had a lot of random moments like that, man.
The crying for you, and I'm asking this question for a reason. Um, how did you cry? Like, was it open, or did you hide?
Nah, man, it was open. And I'm talking about me and the wife in the bed watching TV, and I would just randomly start boo-hooing. And as a man, it's like it's it's probably not healthy how we deal with stuff, but we always try to be macho, right? So at first, I would just be laying there, and the tears would start flowing, and I would try to be quiet and not say anything, and then I would have to, and then my wife would be like, "Oh my gosh,"
Mm.
rub my back and then just kind of hold me. Um, like you have to be vulnerable sometimes, man. And I appreciate my wife for allowing me to be vulnerable.
Mm.
There are sometimes, man, when you can be around certain people, they take those moments when you're at your lowest, and they can throw stuff in your face, or they can make you feel like you less than a man or something. But like, yo, it's okay to cry sometimes, man. It's okay
Right.
to let those emotions out, because if not, what I really learned about myself, bottling up your emotions will just create an explosion later on in the line. And how you looking like you're crazy or something. So you gotta let those emotions out.
Right. You did this create vices for you? Like, how did you start to cope? Like, how did you cope with this? What were
Man,
you doing to get through?
I started drinking way more, man. Like it went from like sometimes just having a drink because you just wanted a drink just because it tasted good. Like, hey man, I want to grab me a little drink. To having a drink to try to make yourself feel better. Having a drink just to try to go to sleep and not think about it. Um, but then I started just throwing a lot more. Yo, I feel like I went through a phase of just trying to do a lot of busy work. Instead of trying to deal with my emotions, it was like I'm just gonna write more music. I'm just gonna work out more. I'm just gonna do this. Where I finally got to the point where it was, man, I need to spend more time with God. You know what I mean?
So before you get there,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that's part of your turning point. I want
Mm-hmm.
to ask you, what did this period look like for your spiritual practice? Like, what did it do to you spiritually?
The drinking portion.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole period, the sadness, the depression from losing your mom, how did your relationship with God, was it affected?
You know what's crazy, bro? Is after I found out that she was dying, right, and I needed to basically come and say my final goodbye. Man, we played gospel music all the way to the hospital. We my mom's final moments, like I held my mom's left hand, my wife was on the right hand, and we set my mama out with praise and worship music banging in the hospital, man. I appreciate those people for letting us do that. Like as they were unhooking everything, man. Um, I I don't think I was never like mad at God. All right, so it wasn't like I went through a process where I stopped praying or I stopped talking to God. But I did go through a moment where I didn't let God heal what I was going through. It's like I would just holler at God in the morning, like, yo, your Christian walk or your walk with God can become very repetitive if you're not careful, right? Just just praying in the morning because you're supposed to pray. When sometimes God needs us to be specific. Like God wants those intimate, deep parts of us, not just the, hey God, thank you for waking me up this morning and getting me started on my way. Amen. But then at night I'll still go to that bottle and drink the whole thing. You know what I mean, bro? So I wasn't plugged in how I needed to be, and I could tell like a lot of things around me had started feeling like they were getting a little chaotic. Felt like my temperament was changing. I was like really short, really irritable, and I don't know how much of that was just a grieving process, or if it was because man, I wasn't taking care of myself like I needed to be. You know.
Yeah, I understand. That's I got a song that I wrote back in like 2014 called Hope, who says who gonna save you from that bottle of Hennessy that you drinking every night to keep you company because your heart ain't alive. Because
Mm-hmm.
I remember at that time, we could relate, that I needed alcohol to stop my mind
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm drinking almost a fifth of Hennessy every night just to get so toe up that I couldn't do nothing else but sleep.
Yep.
Um, so you talked about how busy work became your vice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make more music. I'm gonna work out more. I'm gonna just do whatever I gotta do to not think, to not heal. You talked about even how your prayer in the morning or your prayer time with God was more ritualistic, but you weren't allowing God to really step in and do the healing. Um, what was the turning point for you?
Yeah. This is crazy, right? So, um, like God's ways are always above our ways, right? And I think my turning point was when me and my wife made a decision to move into my mom's old crib. All right.
Mm.
So it is a trip how sometimes the biggest blessings can come from a tragedy. And you don't like it's crazy the way God works and how he's piecing things together that you don't know he's working on. I'm gonna say it again. My mama knew God, okay? She ain't do everything right, but she knew God, okay? And business wise, my mom had her stuff together, okay? So at the time, me and my family, we were living in, I think we had like a 2 bedroom apartment, and my son was getting bigger. We had a dog at the time, and when my mom passed, it was immediately like, man, my mom was a good steward. She done left something behind for me. Like, let me immediately move my family into here, and now we got more space, right? The next thing that happened is once again she was a good steward. She had some money left behind for me to where we were like almost immediately able to like get out of debt, pay cars off. Some bad decisions that I made in the past, man, we were able to correct those things. Now, would I rather have my mama than the money? 100%. You know what I mean? 100%. But she was able to bless me in a way after she passed that she couldn't necessarily bless me while she was still here. You know what I mean? And to the point now where when my daughter was born and we had to get a bigger place, man, we were able to do a little bit of work on my mom's house, end up selling it, got completely out of debt, saved a ton of money. So it's a trip, man, and it wasn't just like one particular event. It was more when I sat back and I just looked at everything, and I was like, wow, like God, you put that play together for me, and I get it, you know. That doesn't mean it didn't hurt. There is never a convenient time for somebody to pass away. You know, it never. Even when people, you could lose a great grandparent that's like 90 something years old. And of course, people will let you know that, hey, man, they lived a long, full life. That's true. That doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt that they're gone, you know? Um, but when I sat back and I looked at how he put things together, man, I'm just grateful, bro.
What they say, the Bible talks about a good man will leave an inheritance for his children and his children's children. Um, but we know that don't necessarily just have to be applied to men, right? It be applied to
Mm-hmm.
parents. I think part of parenting is shaping it up, and it sounds like your mother, um, she did right. She
Yeah,
did her due diligence to make sure she left you with something, and it left you a cushion. And
yeah,
we talk about black economics. That's part of that because you know part of the legacy and part of the American game of economics is being able to leave an inheritance, especially through showing insurance and property and ownership. So I'm glad she did that for you. So you get into her house, you clear up some debt, which puts you in a better position, puts you and the family in a better position. But I'm assuming also puts you in a better position as a man to like lead your family, especially financially.
mm-hmm.
You said you talked about your wife being a great support for you during this time, and you gave kudos to her for how she showed up for you. How did you take ownership though of your own healing process? Like, how are you? Right? I lost my father 14 years ago at this
Mm-hmm.
point, and I know you lost your dad. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you? But also, how are you? What are the things that you're doing? What are the things that you do to kind of start to
Man, I
heal?
try. You gotta take it day by day. That's first thing. Number two, you have to accept the fact that sometimes it is okay to not be okay. Um, and then the other one, man, I really just try to, and I don't want anybody to feel like this is cliche, right? But this is literally how I live my life. I have to cast all of my cares and worries just on God, man. And the more I became focused on just trying to be a better man of God and just realizing that every day that God woke me up, it was truly a blessing. I started looking at life different. Let me tell y'all a side gig that I had that really made me grateful for every day I woke up. Man, I was for a little while, I was a mortuary assistant. Okay. Um, and we were over all of Alamance County. I was an on-call mortuary assistant. When I first took the job, I'm assuming I get one or two calls a week, go in here and help them pick up a body, whoop, whoop, whoop. Nah, bro, it was 3 or 4 calls a day to the point where I would come home, my back would hit the bed. You know, I just picked up a body. That took a couple hours. Come home, it's 3:30 in the morning. Lay down, 4:15, phone ring again. Somebody else just died. Gotta go get them again. You feel like you about to get some sleep, lay down, 8 o'clock, another call. Somebody else done passed. It makes you realize that, man, people leaving this place every day. Excuse me, y'all. And the first call that I had when I went to the funeral home, man, there was a young man that looked like he was probably mid 20s with a gunshot wound to his head. And you could see the indentation of the bullet. And it makes you grateful, man. Number two, it makes you humble because you realize that one day somebody's gonna be coming to pick your behind up, you know?
Mm.
Um, so Man, literally any day God wakes me up, it's a blessing, man. Even when you look outside, like the simple things, right? Things we take for granted. Hearing the birds in the morning. Sometimes the birds get on your nerves, right? But when you're on your deathbed, man, you wish that you could just hear them birds tweeting one more time.
One more
Or the
time.
way the sun comes up and shines through the clouds. Like some people can't see that stuff, man. And I think I think God is such a magnificent artist that we just get so used to seeing these things and we don't realize like the just how much beauty is in every day, man.
Mm. I hear something there, and I'm gonna come back to it. And I love
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you said that. I want to go back to this the statement you made about even though you said it, a lot of people may think it be maybe cliche. You said I cast all of my burdens and my cares on God.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like in practice?
In practice, okay, so some people may have long prayers in the morning, another long prayer at night. I operate in the sense of I'm constantly talking to God throughout my day. Constantly. You know, I could be at work like, all right, God, trying to figure this out. Lord, help me make the right decisions on this. Lord, this baby getting on my nerves a little bit. Give me the strength, Lord. Help me to handle this the way that I need to be doing this. All right, Lord, help me to not respond out of anger. All right, Lord, had a disagreement with my wife. She was right, like she always is. Lord, help me be humble enough to go back in here and apologize to this woman. You know what I mean? It's just a constant talking to God, praying, reading my Bible on a daily basis, and then trying to apply the stuff that I'm studying, man. You know, um, yo, it's a trip. Like man, we was athletes, right? So, like, your coach can show you how to do things a million times, but it's like you have to be able to put that into practice when it's game time and those bullets are real. So the things that I'm reading on a daily basis and the things that God's showing me on a daily basis, when you going through trials and tribulations, like that's game time. And that's when you have to apply the stuff that you're reading and the stuff that we should be displaying. Um, I want to be able to tell a billion people about God's love before I'm gone, right? And I'm not effective about trying to spread God's message if I'm depressed. I can't be effective if I'm walking around angry, if I'm being uh, two faced, or if I'm acting how some other people act out here. Like I gotta try to be the best example of Christ that I could be. So I gotta be operating at a certain level at all times. You know.
Right. Thank you for that. I heard a few things that I really like that I want to point out for those who are listening. So one, I love the practicality behind essentially, right? I'm praying without ceasing. There's no moment, there's no difficulty, there's no challenge that you're facing in a day where you're not asking God to come in and to assist. So there's this help me deal with the baby, help me to humble myself before my wife, help me to have the strength of this, right? It's a constant conversation. That's one thing. You talk about reading your scripture regularly, and right, and you go further, you're talking about not just reading the scripture, but being accountable for what you're reading and putting it into practical application. Um, but I also hear, and I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier. It sounds like death,
Mm-hmm.
and you said it, but death has put you in this interesting place where you appreciate life differently,
Mm-hmm.
where you're paying attention to the things that we overlooked. You talked about the birds chirping, about the sun coming through the clouds. It sounds like part of your healing process is essentially having a new appreciation for the simple things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so key and critical in these times because ambition and expectations and desires and fairy tales have us, and social media often have us wishing, desiring, pushing for the most, um, for the material, for the a fairy tale in a sense, but it sounds like you're finding healing through simplicity.
Mhm.
Like I'm thankful to hear these birds. You know what I'm saying? There's a post that I said it, but my boy posted it. My boy Kariga, he says when your faith has been tested and death has been dealt with, you just move different.
Mhm.
What is your relationship with death?
Man, it's I ain't ready to meet it no time soon, but I ain't scared of it. You know, um, it's it occurs, and it's crazy because there's as dark as death is, man. There's beauty in it, man. There's beauty in everything, man. Depending on how you look at it, and like I said, it's never a convenient time for the family, but sometimes people are just ready to go. Sometimes it's unexpected. So I think the beauty in death is reminding you how delicate life is. You know what I wish we were better at? I wish that and even I have to get better at this. You notice how it's like when it's a funeral, that's when you see cousins that you haven't seen in years and people that you haven't talked to in so long that you never would have reconnected with if Paul or cousin so and so hadn't passed. But now we got to do better to where it doesn't take that for us to pick up the phone and check on one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But they say death is a great equalizer, man. We all got to go one day. And uh, for me, it's about like what kind of legacy are you gonna leave? Like how are people gonna talk about you? When you're out of here one day.
yeah. Funerals definitely be family reunions,
Yeah, man. It's
and
the funerals are the new family reunion. You know what I mean? It's a trip, man. You
unfortunate.
remember we used to all get together at the park, had a big barbecues, had a little T-shirts with the family names on the back. We don't do that no more. It's funerals.
Two biggest celebrations, man. The one in and the one out.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us where you are now, man. Like, where's your spirit? How's your family? What's your practice? Like, where you at now in your being?
Man, I'm full, man. Abundance, joy, peace in my house. I mean, it's cool. Took a while to get to that point, man. But once again, the way that my mom left things set up for me, man, I was able to take a leap of faith and just start working for myself. And man, I know you there now, and it's cool being able to just get out there and grind for yourself and just if you want to take a day off, you don't have to ask for a day off. You just kind of do it and you handle business like man, it's dope. Man, I have so much joy throughout the day. It's crazy. I'm one of them wild. Wake up at 6 a.m. skipping full. I'm so full right now, bro. Like I feel like me again. For a while, I didn't feel like me.
Mm.
For a while, I felt like a shell of myself, or like something was missing. Um, but shoot, God filled that peace in, man, and I'm telling you, man, I'm full, bro.
Good, man. Good, 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 good. We love to hear it. What would you tell somebody, man? Like, let's pass it forward. Like, what advice would you give somebody? What would you say to somebody right now if they were going through a similar situation, lost a mom, a father, you know what I mean, a loved one? What would you tell them,
Man,
man?
go talk to somebody and surround yourself with uh with positive people. You might not be able to be around somebody that has gone through the same exact situation, but the worst people that you can be around when you're going through something is the people that are in agreement with you wallowing in the dirt. Like it's okay to stay down for a little while, but you never want to be around the people that are just like, yeah, man, that is messed up, man. What we gonna do?
Mm.
We need some people that are gonna uplift you and say like, hey, bro, I know you're down right now, but this is what we gonna do to get back up. You know, um, but especially us as men, I feel like we try to be so tough sometimes that we don't want to talk to people. You know, and sometimes you have to go and talk to somebody. It might not always be a therapist. It might be a friend, an older family member. It might be somebody at church. Man, it might be your barber. Um, but there are times where you just need to get that off of you. You know,
Right.
it's okay to do that.
Now I heard you say go talk to somebody.
Hmm.
Um, did you talk to somebody professionally?
I didn't talk to somebody professionally, but I talked to somebody that I feel like I had some. I ain't gonna say crazy moments, but I had some moments where I feel like I was losing myself a little bit. To I think sometimes you need friends that can talk you up off that ledge. You know, when they see you drifting too much. Man, my brother, no name James, my boy Jude, Nate, my wife. I mean, so many conversations with them just checking on me. And here's the big one. When somebody asks you, "Are you okay?" or "How are you doing?" If you're not doing okay, being real enough to say that you're not okay. You know, just to open up that dialogue, man, and that stuff really helped me, bro.
Mm. Being big enough, being real enough to say I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not working and winning today. I'm going through something. We love it, bro. Um, man, thank you for your time. Thank you for your story. Right, we're not talking about an uncommon story in a sense, right? We all got to lose them, and then one day our children got to lose us, and we know it's a process. But like you said, one of the things I think you said that stood out to me is like death will never come at a convenient time.
Mm-hmm.
It'll never be an opportune moment, to lose somebody that you love. Um, Peace, power, and purpose, man. Three P's. Three P's. I'm gonna ask you these questions. I like one answer. I like one word answers, uh, but really just the first thing that comes to your heart. Um, when do you feel most peaceful?
Home
When do you feel most purposeful?
studio
When do you feel most powerful?
on my knees.
I'm so childish.
Hey, yo, hey, you're not the only one. Hey, look, when I said that, I know somebody gonna be this one like pause, pause, B, or
It's
that's
the,
what he
it's
said.
the era we live in, cuz the era we live in.
So I just said praying. You know, when I'm praying, all right, that's a bad ass. When I'm praying,
Oh wait.
don't edit that out. You leave that in there.
I believe it in there, but for the sake, when do you feel most powerful?
Prayer, prayer. That's when I feel the most powerful. That's what I'm gonna say. Your major pause.
Oh God, Wood was like, oh God, I was like, hold up. Oh man.
Grow up, guys.
I'm childish. Man, thank you so much for kicking off 2023 and coming back with us. You actually kicked off 2020 at a time when I really didn't know what this was going to be. Uh, I got something in my heart and I had to move. And we were right in the beginning of the pandemic when we did this the first time, and I wasn't able to save those videos. I don't know what I didn't have this set up, but this time I know exactly what we're doing. We're lining up, and I want these stories to be impactful to someone who needs them. And so, for all of you who are watching, when this is done, it will be released in 2 weeks, and then after that, I'll be releasing each video that we do every 2 weeks. But we will be back. I will be back every night, Sunday through Thursday nights at 9 p.m. during May to talk to brothers. So, for those of you who can follow Yusha Assad on all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc., to catch the other brothers that are coming. Brother, we love you.
Love you too,
Um,
bro.
we love your mom. We still love her.
Yeah.
Um, what she did for me, how she stepped up for me during my period. I tell people all the time I left home when I was 16 years old, and it's my truth. I stayed with you for a time. Then I went to Reedsville, and I really never went back home. But your mother's definitely a part of my story, and so it's Sicily send prayers up for her for wherever God has, placed her in heaven. Shout out to you and your family. Kudos to the legacy that she left for you and how you've been able to use it to establish yourself. You are an incredibly consistent person. And I know you're not perfect because you're human, but you're consistent. And your consistency is motivating. Yeah, you don't drop the ball. You don't drop the ball, and we love you for it, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Um,
Love you too, man.
so thank you. We're gonna tap in. Some my peace to the wife.
Absolutely. I got you, my boy.
All right. Blessings, King.
All right, too, bro. Peace out.